Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to another lesson. Section 1, all about letters. Lesson 5, letters and their sounds. Makharij al-Huroof. Specifically in this lesson, we're going to go over letters Qaaf through Ya. Qaaf, Qaaf, laam, Meem, Noon, Ha, Wa, Ya. Those 8 letters. We're going to go over those. So let's get into it. On the agenda today, we're going to do a quick review of the previous lesson, and then I'm going to ask you to do the warm-ups as usual. And part of the instructions, just like I did for the previous 3 lessons, I'm going to specify where the sound of the letter comes from, what is the makharij of that letter is, the characteristic of each letter, so how is it, if it's a tongue letter, how is it described and how is it differentiated from another tongue letter, what are some of the similarity of that specific Arabic letter to the English letter that we're going to pronounce. And then I'm going to give you some detailed instructions on how to pronounce each letter. Along with, I'll let you know if it's a vowel or a consonant. And finally, I will give you wherever the warm-ups are applicable to you. I'm going to tell you that this is the warm-up number. And if you don't know where it is, go back into my channel, look for the warm-ups video, and you can specify you can see which warm-up video is going to help you recite that particular letter. Then we're going to get into I'm going to give you 3 exercises today, not just 1 or 2, 3 exercises that you can do on your own in order to improve. And wherever applicable, I'm going to let you know what part of the self-test or what section of the self-test I'm going to place each of the instructional sections on. So that is a quick agenda for today. Next, review of the previous lesson. The first lesson we learned in the previous lesson was the letter Sod. The letter Sod was a tongue letter. It is similar to the letter Sin in the Arabic language, but it is characterized by a slight involvement of the throat and its thickness. So the letter is Sod, Sod, and this one is the letter on the right side that you see on your screen, and the letter is a consonant. The next letter that we learned was the letter Bod. The one that you see on the left with a dot on it is known as a bod. The letter bod is similar to the letter dal in the Arabic language. It has no similarity in the English language, neither does the sad, but the letter bod is very similar to the Arabic letter dal, but it is characterized by its thickness and its a slight throat involvement. So the letter is bod, bod. That's also a tongue letter, and that letter is a consonant. The next 2 letters that we learned in the previous lesson was the letter wa and the letter wa. The one that you see on the right hand side is the letter wa. This letter is a tongue letter, and it is very similar to the Arabic letter ta, but the reason it's written with a capital T is because it's of its thickness and a slight throat involvement. So the way it's pronounced is the letter ta, ta. That's the letter ta on the right hand side. And it is a consonant. The letter you see on the left is the letter va. The letter va was very similar to the letter dal in the Arabic language, but it, just like the letter dal, just like the letter dal, the tongue sticks out between your teeth slightly, and then you say the letter z, you say va, va, va. And another characteristic of this letter, the Arabic letter va, is that it is heavy and it's thick, and there's a slight throat involvement. So you make a little bit of a push from your throat and you say va, va. And this is another letter that is a consonant, and neither does the letter va nor does the letter va have any similarity in the English language. Next, we learned the 2 letters ayn and the letter ghayn. The one that you see on the right is the letter ayn. This is a throat letter, and it's specifically pronounced from deep part of your throat, and the warm-up that will help you pronounce this letter is the gargle and spit warm-up. It's very similar to the letter Hamza, and the letter Hamza was in lesson 2. It's very similar to the letter Hamza, but the letter Hamza is a glottal stop. The letter Hamza sounds like a, but this letter, the letter Ayn that you see on the right hand side, is a. So the Hamza is a, versus Ayn is a. A is incorrect when it comes to the letter Ayn, so you shouldn't say Ayn. The letter is Ayn. Ayn, Ayn, not Ayn, but Ayn, Ayn. On the left hand side, and by the way, that letter is ayn is a consonant. It has no similarity in the English language. Neither does the letter ghain. The ghain is a letter that is also pronounced from the throat. It is characterized by a very deep gargling sound. Just like the previous letter, the letter ghain is pronounced, and what will help you is the gargle and spit warm up. And if you put water in your throat and you gargle, that part of your throat you need to pronounce this letter from. This letter is the letter ghain. It has no similarity in the English language. It is not similar. I don't think, at least I couldn't bring myself to put it in the test, that this is not similar to the GH sound, because the GH sound in English is ga, and this is not ga. This is gha. Ghain. Ghain. The letter is ghain, and this letter is a consonant. Moving on. The next letter that we learned in the previous lesson was the letter fa. The letter fa is a lip letter. Notice that I said a lip, not lips, not plural. It's a singular lip. The reason is because in the letter fa, the lower lip touches the upper front teeth, and you hiss a little bit, and you say fa, very similar to the letter F. Not similar, I'm going to say identical to the letter F in the English language, and it is a consonant. Moving on. Please do your warm-ups. I keep saying please is because pretty please, it's very important, and I'm going to refer to the warm-ups again and again in all of my videos and all of my instructional videos. Warm-ups are going to help you start to pronounce Arabic exactly right. So please watch the warm-ups, please don't skip, and I'm going to be referring to these warm-ups again and again in today's lesson as well, just like I have in the previous lessons. So please don't skip. Okay, first letter of the day. Today we're going to learn the letter Qaaf. The letter that you see on the right hand side with the two dots is the letter Qaaf. One more time, Qaaf. Qaaf, the letter Qaaf. This letter is pronounced from the tongue. It is similar to the Arabic letter Qaaf. Now the Arabic letter Qaaf we're going to learn in the next slide. But we have to differentiate. But it is very similar to the letter Qaaf, but it is characterized by its thickness and throat involvement. So slightly like this. It's not Qaaf, it's Qaaf. You see how I'm going deep in my throat to get that letter out? It's Qaaf, Qaaf, Qaaf. And the way it's differentiated from the Qaaf is as follows. This is the letter Qaaf. That is correct. But this is not the letter Qaaf. Qaaf is coming up next. This is the letter Qaaf, which is correct. This is not the letter Qaaf. That's incorrect. This is Qaaf, Qaaf. It's somewhat similar to the letter Q, but it's not quite the same. I'm going to say three words in the English language. You can think of are quiet, queen, Qatar. But again, notice that the sound is not quite the same. It's similar, but not quite the same. The letter Qaaf, 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 Qaaf. So it's not Qatar, but Qatr. Qatr is the correct pronunciation. So Qaaf, that is the correct pronunciation. Even though the letter Q might be considered similar, it's not the same. And this letter Qaaf, the letter Qaaf that you see in front of you is a consonant. Next we have the letter Qaaf, the letter that you see on the right hand side with the hook inside it. It almost looks like a boat with a sail in it. I just noticed that. Is the letter Qaaf. The letter is Qaaf, Qaaf, Qaaf. The letter is pronounced from the tongue, and it is similar to the Arabic letter Qaaf, the one that we learned previously. Just the one slide before this. But the difference, and it is the characteristic of this letter, is that it is flat and it has no throat involvement. So it is Qaaf, Qaaf, Qaaf. It is not Qaaf, so we have to differentiate. This letter is the letter Qaaf. Qaaf. The letter is Qaaf. This is not the letter Qaaf. That's the previous letter. This is the letter Qaaf. Previous was the letter Qaaf. Qaaf is correct. Qaaf is incorrect. But for the English speaker, the difficulty does not come in this letter. This letter, English speakers pick up pretty quickly. But The letter Qaaf is the one that's difficult for English speakers. It is very similar to the letter K in the English language, but it has no exhalation of air. What I mean by that is, just like the letter T, if you remember when I did the letter Ta in the first, actually not the first, the second lesson, lesson number 2, section 1, lesson 2, when I went in that detail of the letter Ta, alif ba ta, the letter Ta, the way I differentiated the letter Ta from the letter T is that the letter T is characterized by a slight exhalation. If you put your hand in front of your mouth and you say T, that little exhalation of air is a characteristic of the letter T, especially when American speakers are pronouncing the letter T. Similarly, the letter K has that characteristic. So the following 5 letters I'm going to pronounce in the English language, and you can hear that little characteristic exhalation of air, that little exhalation of air, you can hear it. So it sounds like this when you're correctly pronouncing it in English. The following 5 words in English are as follows: king, kangaroo, kung, keen, kong, k. But this letter, the letter Qaaf, does not have that exhalation of air. It's not k, it's ka. Ka, it's not ka. It's not ka, it's ka. It's not ka, it's ka. So this is Qaaf, not calf. Another way that I see a lot of English speakers mispronouncing another word, an Arabic word that I see a lot of English speakers mispronouncing, is the word kafir or kafirun. Now notice I pronounced it with the letter K, kafirun. This is not the word is not kafirun. The word is not kafirun. There is no characteristic exhalation. There is none of that. All it is kafirun. Kafirun. Kaf. 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 So if these 5 words, the words that you see on your screen, were to be pronounced by the letter Kaf instead of the letter K, they would be pronounced like this: king, kangaroo, kung, keen, kong. Notice when I pronounced these letters, I did not exhale. I didn't say king, I said king. I didn't say kangaroo, I said kangaroo. I didn't say kung, I said kung. I didn't say keen, I said keen. I didn't say kong, I said kong. Notice that exhalation, that is not present in this letter. This is why, especially when initial people are, English speakers are initially learning Arabic, it's specifically قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ, Surah Kafirun, they say قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ. The word is not kafirun. I'm exaggerating the exhalation a little bit so that my mic can catch it, but it's not kafirun. That's not the word. The word is kafirun, not kafirun. Kafirun, kaf, not kaf, kaf, not kaf, 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 kaf. That's the letter. And this letter is a consonant. I hope I've killed this letter. I hope you understand it now. Moving on. The next letter that we have is the letter lam. The letter is lam. It is pronounced from the tongue. And I'm not going to place much emphasis because this letter is actually identical, not similar, but pretty much identical to the letter L in the English language. So the 4 words that you see on your screen, if they were to be spoken by an English speaker, would be late, leaf, lit, loot, lam, la. This is very easy to do for English speakers, not a lot of problem with the letter lam. Now, but the important warm-up, I will cover it in a lot of detail later. It's going to be in a later lesson, which is warm-up number 14. In that warm-up, what I have you do is almost like an opera singer. What I have you do is I have you pronounce the letter la 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 la. Oops, sorry. Go back. Sorry, I accidentally hit the forward button. La 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 la, which is warm-up number 14. I have you pronounce the letter heavy, the lam letter heavy, la 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 la, But then I have you pronounce the letter light as well. I have you go li 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 li. The reason is why, when, and where you have to pronounce the letter lam with the heavy, almost like an opera singer, la 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 la. When is it heavy? And when is it light? Will be covered in a later lesson. That warm-up is important. And if you go over that warm-up, if you've been doing your warm-ups, it will help you later on. But right now, all I want you to remember is this is a consonant and it is very similar or identical to the letter L in the English language. This is the letter lam. The letter is lam. Moving on. Next letter is the letter Meem. The letter is Meem. The letter is Meem. Meem. This is pronounced from the lips. Notice that this is plural. Lips, not singular, compared to the fa. Fa was singular. This is lips. It is characterized by the lips closing, plus air and sound coming from the nasal passage. Meaning, you close your lips, and you make sound from the oral, sorry, not oral, but nasal cavity like this. You say, meem, meem. Even though I'm exaggerating it a little bit, all it is meem, meem. But if you close your lips, basically the sound and the air coming from your nose is the one that is going to make the sound of this letter. But if I were to close my nose as well, hey, say salam to my wife, everybody. She's not coming in. But in the letter Meem, if I were to close my nose and my lips, there's nowhere for the sound to go. But this characteristic is that Meem, you push the sound out of your nose. Similar or identical to the letter M. There's not much else to describe this letter. It's pretty much identical to the letter M in the English language. For example, the 5 words that I've chosen are male, meal, mit, moot, mut, meem, meem, meem. The letter is meem. Very simple, very easy. And this letter is a consonant. Moving on. Next letter is the letter noon. The letter is noon. Noon. This letter is pronounced from the tongue. And this letter is pronounced by or characterized by the lips remaining open and the tongue remains behind your teeth. But the sound, just like the Meem, and the sound and air comes from your nasal passage. So it's like this. Noon. Noon. So if I were to close my nose, so notice it's very difficult to pronounce this letter if you close your nose. No, you can't do it. No, you just can't do it. Noon. The letter is noon. And whenever I'm reciting the Quran, I have a lot of difficulty reciting the Quran because there's a lot of noon sounds. There's a lot of n sounds in the Quran. It's very difficult to recite the Quran when you have a cold, when your nose is stuffed up. It's very difficult. This letter specifically is characterized by air and sound coming from the nasal passage, but your lips remain open. You say noon, noon. Identical to the letter N in the English language. There's almost no difference. I'm going to, not almost, but pretty much identical. There's nothing else to say. To the letter N. To the letter N in the English language. And the following 5 words will demonstrate that for you. Nail. Neat. Night. No. Nut. Noon. 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 And this letter is a letter that is a consonant. Next letter is the letter Ha. The letter is the letter Ha. One more time, the letter is Ha. Ha. This is pronounced from the throat, and it is characterized by the sound coming almost from the chest, meaning that the makharij of this letter is even lower or even further behind the letter Ha. Ha comes from the deep part of your throat, but it's almost even deeper, almost way down in your chest. The way you have to differentiate this letter from the letter ha. The letter ha, which is the Arabic language, and after the letter jim that we learned previously, right, which as was actually in the lesson number 2, section 1, lesson 2. After the letter jim, it was the letter ha. This is not the letter ha. This is the letter ha. This is the letter ha. And the way that you can think of this letter is that the out-of-breath warm-up number 11. If you've been doing your warm-ups, if you go back and check out warm-up number 11, which is the out-of-breath warm-up, in which I have you go ha, 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 ha. That's this letter ha, the letter ha. Very similar, not very similar, identical, pretty much identical. No difference between the letter ha and the letter H in the English language. The letter H. And I'll pronounce 5 words for you in the English language with this letter. The letter H. The following are hi, hey, hotel, heat, hot, ha, 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 ha. This letter is a consonant. Just remember that it's similar to the letter H, and you will have a lot of ease in remembering to pronounce this letter. Okay, now we're getting into one of only 3 long vowels in the Arabic. If you remember section 1, lesson 2, we covered the very first letter, which was Hamza. Sorry, not Hamza, Alif. Alif was a long vowel. Alif was a long vowel. This is another long vowel letter. This is the letter wa. The letter is wa. The letter is wa. Wa. This letter is pronounced from the lips. Notice that I'm pouting my lips. And it is characterized by a pouting of the lips. So you go like this. Wa. 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 Warm-up number 1. And it's incidentally, the warm-up number 1 I have you do twice at the beginning and at the end of every warm-up. The pout and smile warm-up, not point and smile. My fault, I mistyped that. It's pout and smile warm-up. Pout and smile. The pout is like this. And smile. This letter is pronounced by the pout. We. 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 It is similar to the letter W in the English language, but not similar to the letter V. It's similar to the letter W in the English language, but not to the letter V. And I'll have you differentiate between those two now. Similar to these words in the English language, the letter we is pronounced like this. Wiper, wet, wilt, wean. We. I'm sure you're starting to hear the difference. But it is not pronounced like a V. It is not pronounced like a V. The V is done with a slight bit of a smile. V. V. So it does not sound like the following letters. Viper. Vet or veterinarian. Victory. Veer. That is not the sound of this letter. This is not V. This is not V. This is W. 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 So in the V, you do a slight bit of a smile, and your lower lip touches your tooth, front upper teeth. You go like this. V. 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 But this is not a V. This is a W. This is a W. 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 Pout. Pout. W. W. This is one of the 3 long vowels in the Arabic language. It is a long vowel, and it sounds like the 2 O sounds. It sounds like oo, oo. When it is combined with other letters, it sounds like oo, the oo sound, oo. And this letter is a long vowel. Next, we have the letter ya. The letter is ya. Ya. This letter is pronounced from the oral cavity, and it is characterized by a widening of the lip and the tongue not touching any part of your mouth. So it's pronounced like this. Ya. 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 It is pretty much identical to the letter Y in the English language. So I will pronounce 5 words for you, starting with the letter Y in the English language. They sound like this: Yankees, yes, you, yikes, young, yeah, yeah, yeah. The letter is yeah. The letter is yeah. And this is a long vowel, and when it is combined with other letters in the Arabic language, it makes the 2E sound, the double E sound. So E sound. This is why it's a vowel. The letter is ya, and it is a long vowel. Okay. Consonants, vowels, and syllables. This is going to be in the extra credit. I'm not going to place it in the regular self-test part of your self-test. I'm going to put this in the extra credit. But any language, the way that it works is that vowels and consonants combine to make syllables, whereas syllables combine to make words. And I've given you some examples here. The first 4 examples are very simple words I've set up are hat, hit, heat, and hut. Hat, hit, heat, hut. Hat, hit, heat, hut. These 4 words are composed of the letter H and the letter T. Those are the 2 consonants. But in the middle are the vowels. The H-A-T, which is hat, is the A sound. So you combine the letter H with the sound of the vowel A, and with the T it becomes a hat. But in this case it's slightly flat. It's a hat. It's not a hot. It's hat. Similarly, hit, H and T are consonants. The I is the vowel. So you'll make a hit. Heat, the EA are the vowels. The H and the T are the consonant. When you combine H-E-A-T, it becomes heat. H and T in the word hut are the consonants, and the U makes it a oo sound, so hut. So hut, 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 hut. Not hut, but hut. So, some words with multiple syllables are hunter. That word has 2 syllables in it. Hun and then ter. Hun and then ter are the 2 syllables. The first syllable is combined to make H-U-N, which composes of 2 consonants. H and N are the consonants. U is the syllable. So U is the vowel, sorry. And when you combine H, U, and N, it becomes a syllable, and the syllable sound is hun. Hun. Then T and then E and R. T and R are the consonants. The E sound, the E vowel, combines between T and the R to make ter, T-E-R, ter. Hun plus ter becomes hunter. Similarly, the next word is howling. H and W are the consonants. O is the vowel. It becomes how. That's the first syllable. And then the next syllable is ling. L, N, and G are the consonants, whereas I is the vowel. So that's L-I-N-G, ling, howling, howling. How is the first syllable, ling is the second, howling, howling, howling. Next word is ho and li. Holy, holy, that's another example, but it is an exception. Why? A, E, I, O, U are vowels, but Y is not. But why is this? Why does this why does this syllable H-O is ho? Ho. That's a simple syllable. But L-Y is li. The reason it would be considered, or the reason it makes that sound, is because if you replace the Y with an E, that would also sound like holy. So if you imagine somebody's name, what if their name was H-O-L-E-E, 2 E's, holy. So that L-Y is the second syllable. So holy has 2 syllables in it. Just like that. Just like that in the Arabic language. We've learned all 28 letters in the English language, not English, all 28 letters in the Arabic language now. We have described for you what the consonants are. We have described for you what the vowels are. And I have described for you what the sound the vowels make. The sounds of the vowels. So what are the three vowels? The three vowels are the letters alif, the long vowels. The long vowels are the three, are alif, wa, and ya. Alif, wa, ya are the three long vowels. But they each have an associated or a connecting or a similar short vowel. In the Arabic language, there is such a thing as a long vowel and a short vowel. That's why whenever I specified for you the vowels in the previous lessons, I said this is alif is a long vowel, wa is a long vowel, ya is a long vowel. So the associated short vowel with the alif is the movement mark, also known as the fatha. Remember, this is going to be an extra credit, so don't worry, I'm going to give you a lot more detail later. Because movement marks and how they are connected to make syllables, and how they're connected, how consonants and vowels are connected to make syllables, to make words, and etc., etc. All of that is going to be coming up in later lessons. But just remember this: alif, and alif is the long vowel. Its associated short vowel is the letter fatha. The letter alif makes the 2a sound, which sounds like ah. But the short vowel fatha makes the a sound, a. It's just a movement. It's not a, it's just a. It's not a, just a. So alif is the a sound, fatha is the a sound, a. Next long vowel is the long vowel in the Arabic language known as the wa. Wa. Its associated short vowel or movement mark is known as the dhamma. And the long vowel sound, the wa sound, is characterized or sounded like the two O letters that you see in front of you. Ooh. 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 Whereas the dhamma is the single O sound. It's O. It's ooh. 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 So the wa is ooh. The dhamma is ooh. The wa is ooh. The dhamma is ooh. Ooh versus ooh. Ooh, ooh. So just remember that. And don't worry if it doesn't quite make sense yet. I promise. Just remember this, that in any language, just like I explained to you in the previous bullet point, I explained how consonants and vowels combine to make syllables, and syllables combine to make words. Just like that, you have to just remember that in the Arabic language, the long vowels and the short vowels combined with the consonant letters make syllables, and syllables make words. Just remember that. The next long vowel is the letter ya, and its associated short vowel is the kathra movement. Kathra movement that you see in front of you. Kathra. The long vowel ya makes the sound e, e, e. But the short vowel, the kathra, makes the sound e. E. So the ya makes the sound e, the kathra makes the sound e. E versus e. E versus e. So two e's versus a singular e. E, e. E, e. So remember these. We're going to go into this a lot more detail when I cover the movement marks in the Quran, and how they are to be pronounced, and how combined letters and words and consonants and syllables combine to make the Arabic words. So the letters and their sounds are a versus a, oo versus oo, e versus e. So just 2 versus 1. Just remember that, and there's a lot more detail to come later on in a lesson that I'm going to cover in detail the movement marks in the Quran. Okay, exercises. What can you do to improve? You can watch additional YouTube videos of other explanations of other people who are explaining what I'm explaining in these videos, and refer to other websites. And the reason you should, is because my explanation may click with you, but it may not click with you because it's difficult to explain exactly over a singular video. Multiple people, it's describing to you the same thing. Their different explanations might click with you a little bit better. So go ahead. Watch other YouTube videos explaining how to pronounce these letters. Watch other, or go to visit other websites, great websites out there on how to pronounce Arabic letters and descriptions of Arabic letters, everything. Please refer to those YouTube videos and websites. Very informative. I'm not going to list any, but there are plenty of them out there. Plenty of them. Next exercise that you can do is you need to find someone who knows how to pronounce the Arabic letters and let them hear you pronouncing the letters that you've learned in this lesson and have them correct you. And you have to do this again and again, because unless you sit down with someone, because over the video I cannot hear you pronouncing, unless you sit down with them, they will be able to correct you with you sitting in front of them. I wouldn't be able to do it. And finally, the last exercise, which is I'm going to upload another accompanying exercise video after this video. I want you to find the letters that you learned today in the Quran itself. Try to find them, try to open the book, try to open the Mus'haf, try to open the Quran, and find those letters in the Quran. See if you can locate those letters. In conclusion, what did we learn today? Today we learned the letters. What did we start with? So we started with the letter Qaaf. Qaaf, kaaf, laam, meem, noon, ha, wa, ya. Those 8 letters, their pronunciations, what types of letters they are, their characteristics, what similarities they have to the English language. In the next lesson, I'm going to go into detail about how letters are combined in the Arabic written form and what they look like in their 4 different forms. There are 4 different forms, and this I will cover in the next lesson, which is the independent form, the initial form, the medial form, and the final form. What is meant by that is if a letter is written independently versus written at the start of a word versus written in the middle of a word versus written at the end of a word. Those are the 4 forms of those letters, and I'll cover those in the next lesson in a lot more detail. The self-test of this lesson will place a lot of emphasis on pronunciation. So pronunciation is important, and this comes to conclusion, the pronunciation of the letters and the makharij of the letters, just the letters. This section is all about letters, but the previous 4 lessons that we've done, Section 1, Lesson 2, Section 1, Lesson 3, Section 1, Lesson 4, and Section 1, Lesson 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Those 4 lessons have placed a lot of emphasis on pronunciation of the letters and the letters alone. The reason I've placed so much emphasis, and I've differentiated out 4 half-hour videos on it, is because it's necessary to build an excellent foundation so that the rest of the building will be strong. When you learn the rest of the pronunciations and things like that, if you've been doing your warm-ups, if you've been watching these videos, if you've been referring to these videos, and if you've been doing your exercises, those advanced videos will come to you a lot simpler, a lot easier. And finally, don't forget to like this video if it has been helpful to you. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, leave them below. And please subscribe to this channel for additional videos. And finally, if you think that it might be helpful to your friends or somebody who you know is learning to recite the Quran, go ahead and share this video with them. And share it on your social media if you like. Jazakallah khair for watching. I will see you next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.